Hey, it's Dom. I'm founder and program manager of the RippleX Fellowship program. Today we have Alexa with us. Alexa, you want to give a quick intro and a background of yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Alexa Grabelle. I'm from southern New Jersey near Philadelphia. Go to school at Wharton. I participated in the Ripple Fellowship back in my freshman year at school, and I will be graduating very soon.
Awesome. And tell us about your journey into venture capital. I know you're starting a new role after you graduate soon, but walk us through that journey of discovering venture, joining the RippleX Fellowship, and how that has guided you to get into your role now.
Yeah, certainly. So, growing up, I was just always very interested in startups and entrepreneurship, and that manifested in an obsession with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And I was just constantly learning about new ventures. This was, back in middle school, beginning of high school. And at some point, I learned that that's not the only place where startups get their funding, and there's an entire career in venture capital where you really just do the same tasks I was doing for fun in terms of learning about new industries, evaluating companies, chatting with founders. So once I realized that, I really set my eye on the goal of entering the realm of VC upon graduating from college. So when I arrived at school, I immersed myself in clubs. There's a group at Penn called the Weiss Tech House Innovation Fund, where I was able to invest in student-run ventures. And shortly after joining that, my freshman year, a classmate of mine told me about Ripple. I applied and joined, and that was my first ever real VC education in a cohort experience, which really added to the interactive learning experience as well. And from Ripple, I then participated in a research assistant program where I was working on venture related topics, joined another VC fellowship, took a leave of absence from school to work full time at a growth fund, which ultimately ended with this past summer working as a summer analyst at Bessemer, where I will be returning full time upon graduation in June.
Awesome. And do you remember who introduced you to the RippleX Fellowship program?
It was just a friend of mine who tagged me on LinkedIn. It wasn't anyone who was ever involved with Ripple themselves. It was just, I
Yeah.
guess you guys had put out your calling for
Yeah.
applications, and I got like a little message about it.
Awesome. It's funny. One of our alumni was telling us that people ask for RippleX interview prep now. And similar to, how people ask for like YC prep or like VC interview prep. Yeah, that was a new thing that I heard recently, which is really
That's
fun.
so funny.
But
I can agree with that. I mean, I've received DMs over the last few years since completing the program from prospectives who are applying, asking for advice. And I've hopped on a few
oh,
calls to
amazing.
help out there as well. So there's definitely a community that's
Awesome.
looking for tips and tricks.
Appreciate that. And what was the most valuable thing about the fellowship program to you? You mentioned like content, community. What was so special about the program to you, and how did we help you?
Yeah, I think that what really made it special is that it wasn't a one and done type program. The actual summer, first of all, that was COVID summer. It was incredible to have an outlet where I was talking with engaging peers from across North America at all different schools. Like that experience was fantastic. But what really differentiates Ripple is that the experience goes far beyond those few months. In that this past summer when I was in New York, not only did I go to some Ripple sponsored events to meet other fellows, but off the grid, I also was doing coffee chats with some are in my LinkedIn messages. Like the network is just really massive at this point. It's crazy. Like I was in cohort 5. I don't even know what cohort you're on now, but I know it's a lot more than 5. And it's just been
Yeah.
really incredible to see that network grow. And I feel really proud to be a part of it and to be able to contribute to people who might be looking for advice for things that I have done over the past few years. Like I love to give back, but I also feel like there's so much for me to learn from every person I talk to, and that each person really brings in a different background and perspective on the realm of VC and entrepreneurship.
That's amazing. Yeah, we're actually recruiting and starting cohort 14 in May
Wow.
now. So yeah, it's pretty crazy how time has flown, but it's awesome to see alumni like yourself to be able to leverage the experience and network and be able to find really awesome roles for yourself. And then who knows, maybe in a couple months when you start your job, we'll be able to co-invest on something together, which is
Yeah.
a really full circle down the road. So you also mentioned doing another fellowship before. How has our program differentiated from some of the other programs that you've done in the past?
Yeah, I think First of all, I think Ripple is very intimate in the sense that the cohorts are small, and through that, you really are able to establish these long-term relationships. And furthermore, the leadership from you and your colleagues at Ripple is truly exceptional. I have a lot of their phone numbers saved. We'll text back and forth, like just that level of connection and care, and kind of knowing that you're one call away if I need any professional advice or otherwise, is something that's just really stand out and something that I appreciate.
Awesome. And is there anything specific on maybe the course module content or from the learnings from the calls that maybe you drew on during your last internship that like you remember, oh, like I learned this at the RippleX Fellowship, I can apply this at my job? Was there anything that stood up off the top of your head for that?
I feel like I could talk for 10 minutes about the different things that I learned that have come up, but I think two in particular stand out. The first was back when I did the fellowship, there was an exercise where we had to analyze the ecosystem of the locale where we were based. So for me, it was Philly at the time. And I feel like when I moved to New York, I really used a similar way of thinking about what types of resources, such as like incubators and accelerators and funds, would be most relevant to me in terms of building a network of colleagues across peer firms and really navigating the VC environment. And the other resource which stands out was the investment memo exercise, which we did at the conclusion of the program. And we got to explore different investment memo templates and understand how to really compile a solid one. And not just in the actual job, but also a lot of the VC applications that I filled out over the years have required a lot of memo creation. And I felt pretty confident in my abilities. And one other quick thing that I'll add as I'm reflecting on this is at Penn, I helped to found an entrepreneurship fraternity called Sigma Eta Pi. And our curriculum for new members is that they start their own startups. And every semester, I've literally repurposed the slides that I have saved from when I completed Ripple years ago and use it as intro to VC slides to teach our new members about how they should navigate the space. So it not only has helped me in terms of my jobs, but also in my extracurriculars and other realms of my life.
That's amazing. No, love to hear how it's scaled over time and been able to help you in that day-to-day job life. So appreciate that. So we'll end off with, do you have any tips for future fellows or anyone thinking about applying?
Yeah, I think first of all, the fact that you have found out about Ripple and that you're interested in applying means that you already have a leg up. You know what VC is. You have a sense of what's going on. Like, I feel extremely grateful to have come into college with an awareness of VC, but it's certainly something that's not to be expected or typical at all. So my advice is, regardless of whether you get into the program, definitely complete the Ripple online course and, become familiar with not just the resources that Ripple offers, but at this point, there are lots of online learning repositories for the venture field that are free. Take advantage of all of those resources and really just soak it all up. And my advice in terms of the fellowship program is to lean into whatever your niche may be. Maybe you come in already knowing an industry that stands out to you, maybe not. But something that's really important and cool in this space is having a passion, having a specific area and industry that differentiates you. For me, there have been a few different spaces over the years, but I would say food has been a common thread for me, and agriculture since the start. And as the years go on and the opportunities increase, you can continue to go deeper and deeper in that topic. And it's just a really rewarding experience. So I recommend that you stay true to yourself and lean into your passion, whatever it may be.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Alexa, and appreciate the kind words and sharing your story. And we'll see you around.
Thank you, Dom.